Welcome back to Understanding Depression, the podcast where we explore the many facets of mental health with compassion, clarity, and honesty. In this powerful episode, we dive deep into why talking about depression is so important, not just for awareness, but for healing, prevention, and saving lives. You'll learn how open conversations can break the stigma, encourage early intervention, create safe spaces, and offer hope to those silently struggling. As always, I invite you to listen mindfully, taking in not just the words, but the emotions, the stories, and the truths that often go unspoken. If this topic resonates with you, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode. Your engagement helps us reach more people who may need to hear this. Segment 1. The silence surrounding depression. Depression is a deeply personal and often isolating experience. Yet ironically, it is also one of the most common mental health conditions worldwide. According to the World Health Organization, over 280 million people globally suffer from depression. Despite this staggering number, many still struggle in silence. Why? Because talking about depression remains taboo in many cultures, families, and communities. There's a lingering belief that discussing one's mental health is a sign of weakness, or worse, an invitation for judgment. People fear being labeled as crazy, lazy, or too sensitive. And so the silence continues. But silence can be dangerous. When we don't talk about depression, we create an environment where myths flourish and support systems remain out of reach. People begin to doubt their own pain, internalizing shame instead of seeking help. That's why starting the conversation, even just a whisper, can be revolutionary. Segment 2. Talking breaks the stigma. One of the most powerful outcomes of speaking openly about depression is that it breaks the stigma. Stigma thrives in the dark, but when we bring light, when we share real experiences, struggles, and triumphs, we dismantle the walls that keep us apart. Think about this. How many times have you heard someone say, "But you don't look depressed," or "Just be positive"? These responses reflect a lack of understanding and can make someone who is suffering feel even more alone. When we talk about depression honestly, we educate others. We humanize the condition. We show that depression has many faces. It can affect the joyful parent, the successful student, the strong athlete, or the high-achieving professional. Open conversations help people realize they are not alone and that their experiences are valid. They also encourage empathy in others who might not fully understand what depression is. Segment 3. Creating safe spaces. Talking about depression isn't just about awareness. It's about creating safe spaces. Spaces where people can express their struggles without fear of ridicule. Spaces where vulnerability is met with support, not shame. Safe conversations can happen anywhere. Over coffee with a friend, during a family dinner, in a classroom, at the workplace, or online. When someone shares their experience with depression and is met with compassion rather than judgment, it sets a powerful example. It tells others, it's okay to open up. You won't be alone. In these spaces, people begin to find healing. The act of saying out loud, "I'm not okay," can be the first step toward getting help. Segment 4. Encouraging early intervention. Many people delay seeking help for depression. Some don't recognize the symptoms. Others minimize their feelings or hope it will pass. But the longer depression goes untreated, the more deeply it can affect every aspect of a person's life, from relationships to job performance, even to physical health. When we normalize talking about depression, we encourage early intervention. We help people recognize the signs in themselves and others. We make therapy, medication, and other treatments feel less intimidating. The earlier someone gets help, the better their chances of managing their depression and regaining quality of life. This is especially crucial for teens and young adults who may be experiencing depression for the first time. A single open conversation with a parent, a teacher, or friend can make all the difference. Segment 5. Role models and real stories. Public figures who talk openly about their struggles with depression, whether it's a celebrity, an athlete, or a community leader, have an enormous impact. Their vulnerability shows that no one is immune to depression, no matter their success, wealth, or appearance. When people see others they admire being open about mental health, it can give them the courage to do the same. These stories also help shatter the illusion that depression looks a certain way. It doesn't always involve crying or staying in bed all day. Sometimes it looks like smiling through pain or pushing through each day with invisible weight. The more diverse and authentic stories we hear, the more complete our understanding becomes. That's why every voice matters, including yours. Segment 6. Talking supports healing and recovery. Depression can feel like a heavy fog, isolating and numbing. But talking about it can act like a ray of light. It doesn't solve everything, but it opens the door to healing. When we speak our truth, we lessen its power over us. We allow others to connect with us in deeper, more authentic ways. We also learn we're not broken, we're human. Whether you're confiding in a friend, talking to a therapist, or sharing your story in a support group, every conversation is a step toward recovery. And even if you're not ready to talk, simply listening to others can start the process of healing. Segment 7. You don't have to be an expert to talk. One reason people hesitate to talk about depression is because they feel unqualified. What if I say the wrong thing? What if I make it worse? But here's the truth. You don't need to be an expert to show care. You just need to listen with empathy, validate the person's feelings. Say things like, "I'm here for you," or "You're not alone." Ask questions gently. Avoid judgment. Sometimes just being there, truly present and non-judgmental, is the most healing thing you can do. And if you're the one struggling, remember, you don't need to have the perfect words. You don't need to explain everything. Just saying "I'm struggling" is enough to start the conversation. Segment 8. Changing the culture together. Creating a world where people can talk openly about depression takes all of us. It means challenging harmful stereotypes, educating ourselves, and being brave enough to have uncomfortable conversations. It also means teaching our children that emotions are not a weakness. That mental health is as important as physical health. That it's okay to ask for help. Every time you share a mental health post, talk to a friend about therapy, or check in on someone who seems off, you're helping to change the culture. You're making it safer for someone else to speak up. So why is talking about depression so important? Because it breaks stigma. It builds understanding. It opens paths to healing. It saves lives. You don't have to be a therapist, a doctor, or an expert to make a difference. You just have to be human, compassionate, open, and willing to listen. As we wrap up this episode, I invite you again to like, comment, subscribe, and share this podcast. You never know who might need it. Your simple action might be the first step in someone else's journey to healing. And remember, this YouTube video is for informational purposes only and should not replace professional advice. If you or someone you know is struggling with depression, please consult a qualified mental health expert. Thank you for listening mindfully. Until next time, take care of your mind and your heart.